What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. Gab, the Sultan of Sandu here with the man, the myth, the legend himself, the prophet. I've always wanted to say that again. Maui up. No Sam Santos here tonight. He's busy being a corporate slave. So he won't be joining us today, but we will be having a short episode. As you can see from the title, we are doing not really a full recap of yesterday's games, which were great. Maui, I think you watched both games. Both games were down to the wire. We're not gonna recap both, but we are gonna do some notable notes. So Maui and I will alternate anong mga nakita namin from yesterday's game. And plus, we're gonna do a preview of the big matchup this Sunday between the Ateneo Blue Eagles and the De La Salle Green Archers. Maui, I don't think we've been this excited for Ateneo La Salle in a year and a half, maybe. Diba? Season 86. Kinda. I mean, Mason was still in Ateneo. Diba? Remember that? His big shots over KQ, the KQ Mason matchup. Perhaps that was the last time that we were excited for Ateneo La Salle. Last year, La Salle just blew us out of the water. In every game, I think KQ cooked us in every game. But I'm sure you're excited, Maui, and we'll be watching, diba? Tayong dalawa. I don't know about Sam.
Definitely.
Oh, ititiis natin yung MOA para makanood tayo ng Ateneo La Salle on Sunday. So hopefully we see you guys there. But to start, we are gonna do our notable notes from yesterday's two games. Maui, I'm gonna start with you. What is your first notable note from the two games yesterday?
Yeah. Actually, ganda ng games, as you mentioned. I want to coin the term Manic Wednesdays for the UAAP. So far, we've had some bangers. I think the game La Salle FEU was more of a banger. But actually, I can choose. If you told me, I love both games. I think what I did not expect the most was maybe FEU. FEU is continuing to surprise me. Maybe they don't have a good record, but they can hang. A lot of people have written them off, but they almost beat La Salle. The same way they almost beat Ateneo. Janray Pasaol is a star in the making in the UAAP. I did not expect him to be this good. Even kahit yung from the very high expectations we had from the previous season. In that sort of up and down rookie season, I did not expect him to start the season off like this. Nung pre-season kasi we saw that they heavily relied on Bautista to generate points during most of their games. But so far, Pasaol has been all around and all over the court the first two games. And I'm happy.
I think he had 25, 5 and 4 with 3 steals and 1 block, Maui.
And no turnovers. But this is a guy that's supposedly not steady, who had abysmal shooting numbers during his rookie season, who Coach Sean Chambers didn't play as much heavy minutes as the other starters, and with reason. But now it looks like he's gonna be their star player, star scorer, along with Janray Pasaol, along with Bautista. And ang ganda kasi you see a very well-rounded point guard, somebody who rebounds, somebody who brings energy on the court, defends, and I can say that FEU fans kahit papaano can have some sort of hope that the future could be still good despite losing VJ Pre. I think that's the best thing that they could hope for. Somebody who can bring them back to the Final Four eventually. His combination with Konate, it makes you think how good could they have been if VJ Pre stayed. But as I've mentioned, at least they have some glimmer of hope. They have a guy that they can pin the futures on. Kasi that was something that they lost when they lost VJ Pre, they lost both now and the future. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that what I'm seeing with regards to FEU, and hopefully they can continue to turn. I think the main concern is the very bad start in terms of win losses. Maybe they can't make the final four, but at least they have that player that they could rely on for their future.
I love that you said yung part na about VJ Pre, because that was my notable note from yesterday, Maui. Sayang yung FEU, because if they had VJ Pre and if they had this version of John Ray Pasaol for this season, I'm sure they're a contender. I'm sure of it. John Ray looks so good. He looks so good. He's a mismatch problem, Maui. Smaller guards have difficulty guarding him because he's bigger. Mas malakas siya than yung smaller guards. Bigger wings can't defend him because he's quicker than bigger wings. It takes a special type of player to guard John Ray. A certain guard with size that is as quick as John Ray can probably try to defend him. Pero lahat ng wings ng LaSalle, lahat ng guards ng LaSalle could not keep up with John Ray Pasaol yesterday. Yun ang isang sobrang eye-popping for me. He was taking it to Boris Marasigan. He was taking it to Doy Dungo. Cortez had trouble guarding him because he was just drawing fouls over and over on Jacob. Sino pa ba yung nandun? Si Earl Abadam, yung had difficulty yung guarding him. He was freaking amazing. He was doing it on all three levels. He was hitting his three-point shots also, which was a big part of the game that he did not hit in the game against Ateneo. So I really love the all-around game. As you said, monster numbers so far. I think he leads the league in scoring. I didn't think we had that in our predictions in the preseason. Diba? We had si John Abate, we had si Nick Cabanero. We had his teammates, si Joric, yung probably leading the UAAP in scoring. We did not have John Ray Pasaol leading the league in scoring with 3 games and 2 games into the UAAP season. So a very pleasant surprise nga sa akin si John Ray Pasaol. Yun yung isang notable note ko. And sayang alam mo, fans have been praising the UAAP Maui for having a lot of parity so far this season. Parang 6 teams you could see trying to make the Final Four. Now imagine if there were 7 teams trying to make the Final Four. If you include FEU, diba? And how strong they could have been with VJ, sayang talaga. Yun yung one notable one ko. Sayang yung season na to for FEU if they had VJ Pre.
Yeah.
But I go next to my notable note. Kirby Moncopa is finding his groove. And so far, it's been 2 good games in a row for Kirby Moncopa. I love how confident. Starter na. Finally, si Coach Sean, yeah, we need him to start. We need him to play big minutes because he's one of our more important players. I love how confident he is now, Maui, with taking 3-point shots. I think he's shooting it very well also at a very good clip. I love that he play makes from the top of the key. So add him to one of the guys who can actually play make on this team. Si Joric, medyo right now, a lot of long twos and long contested threes. So medyo hindi pa ako impressed with Joric's season so far, except in the game against Ateneo, because he just loves playing against Ateneo. And hindi pala siya clutch when he plays against Ateneo. Because ang wild nung last shot ni Joric, he was trapped in the corner, went straight to the basket, uncontested. Well, slightly contested siguro, but he just had to lay it into the basket and sobra. So apparently Joric Bautista is only clutch against Ateneo. Pang against LaSalle, hindi pala siya clutch. So I just have to say that for Joric. Pero I'm really happy for Kirby. I hope he continues his momentum. He's gonna be pretty important for this FEU team. I do hope he does not get run through the ground in terms of minutes by Coach Sean, because Coach Sean Kirby has not played in 2 years. I do hope you don't play him like 35 to 40 minutes a game, unlike Simo Konate. So I'm pretty happy with how Kirby Moncopa has been playing the past 2 games. Maui, your next notable note from yesterday's games.
I think this is more of something that I've been saying. We've been saying on the podcast from since the off season, since we watched them in Phil Oil and all of the off season tournaments. One of my notable notes is that LaSalle is mortal. You could argue that LaSalle and UP, could even say UP, who's had a very challenging start. You could say that LaSalle is hammered by injuries. But this team is too good. Diba? Too good. They have the talent. I mean, if Baclaan is out, there's still Cortez. If any one of the wings are out, you could play Golyena, you could play Marasigan. Dungo had a good game. I think that just shows how much capable their next man mentality up is. But it's not like in previous seasons where they will steamroll all of the opponents, much like UP. It's going to be more of a challenging season, and some of my friends na Lasallians have messaged me na they don't think LaSalle could go all the way, but I beg to disagree. I still believe that LaSalle is and UP are the deepest team in the UAAP. I mean, it's only been 3 games, and anything is still possible. LaSalle had a pretty bad start when they won the title, but it will all boil down to who peaks at the right moment, especially in the second round. But so far, I think LaSalle has all the weapons. I think si Dungo showed and Golyena showed during this game that they have capable hands. If any of these guys are called to need to score, they will provide. And one thing that I really loved seeing in this game is Mike Phillips. It's the first game that he played with did not play with the 2 point guards. Only si Cortez played. And he was used as an offensive hub and had 9 assists during this game.
Nagulat din ako, Maui, na 9 assists siya. Crazy.
Diba? That's crazy. He had 6 points. So he almost had a triple-double a la Draymond Green style, not reaching it also with scoring. But kidding aside, I love how LaSalle has that offensive dimension, offensive versatility. They could use Mike Phillips as a weapon, not just to get offensive rebounds, but also as an offensive hub. It shows how much good yung development. Again, we previous seasons, people did not talk about in development ni Mike Phillips as much as maybe in development ni KQ, but I'm happy with the development of Mike Phillips and think that hopefully we do get this eligibility, could potentially probably play the power forward slot or something sort of a role similar to how, if you look at the team and Coach Timple and coaches, how Coach Tim utilizes si Kai Soto on the high post and on the low post as a facilitator. Yeah.
I love what you said first about Doy Dungo. Kasi sanay siya sa rims ng USTQ Pav Maui. Kasi doon siya nag-training. Buong high school life niya, doon siya nag-practice. Kaya sobrang sanay siya. And
may home court din pala siya.
Advantage. May home court advantage pala si Doy Dungo sa USTQ Pav. Underrated. So, definitely had a good game. Pero, I love that take na that LaSalle is mortal. Because, honestly, this was the best offensive game that LaSalle played. For the first 3 games, I would say this was their best offensive game. And they still almost lost. Diba? That's crazy. They had 4 guys score in double figures. I think si Amos, Cortez, Golyena all scored 14, and then Dungo led the team in scoring with 17. So ito yung sinasabi natin, when the others play really well, LaSalle in the past looked unstoppable. But now, in this game, the others played well. You mentioned Goliana. You mentioned Dungo. Si Mason had a good game. Mike Phillips was dishing out 9 assists. They were moving the ball around. Their ball movement was so sharp. And they still almost lost. I think you're right. Even if LaSalle plays an A game, offensively at least, teams could still upend them. And for me, obviously, I'm happy to see that the other teams are now trying to compete with the likes of a UP and the LaSalle. But that was my main takeaway. I thought LaSalle's offense, for the most part of this game, was so beautiful. They were, how many assists did they have? 20 assists versus 9 turnovers. That's also another thing, Maui. They didn't turn the ball over. But LaSalle usually turns the ball over a lot. They turned the ball over a lot. And now, and in yesterday's game, they were on point offensively.
Kahit free throw shooting.
Diba? I was gonna say, they didn't miss too many free throws. 12 out of 16 lang sila. 75%. That's like 90% yung for the De La Salle Green Archers. And they still almost lost. So, ako, definitely agree ako sa notable note mo na yan. Just another notable note for me for this game, or actually not for this game, in general. Team, oy! Oy!
Oy, dumating! Umabol.
Oy! Ba't ka may shirt na ganyan? Cap circumvention, bro.
I'm a
Cap circumvention. Anyway, Sammy, we were discussing our notable notes from the FEU and LaSalle game yesterday. And sabi ni Maui, just as you came in, LaSalle looks mortal. And I said, because they played their best offensive game, and yet muntikan na sila matalo. They had only 9 turnovers, dished out 20 assists, and they still almost lost. They had contributions from their bench. Si Goliana and Dungo scored in double figures. And yet, they were a Joric Bautista layup away from going to overtime and possibly losing this game. That's freaking crazy. And also, I was gonna get to my notable note. This is outside the game. Actually, there are some fans, as I predicted, who are starting to turn on Topex Robinson.
Ano sinasabi nila? Talaga? Ano sinasabi nila?
Yung Coach Topex is still doing the questionable substitutions. He's still doing the questionable the rotation decisions that lost them the finals in season 87. He's still basta marami na I've seen some tweets, I've seen some comments that they are getting frustrated with Coach Topex. And remember, when Coach Topex signed that extension in the offseason, I said this, it doesn't take much for LaSalle fans, LaSallians, to turn on their coach. They may be happy now, but as soon as any form of disappointment comes, as soon as any form of losing or not winning convincingly happens, LaSallians will turn on Coach Topex, and we're seeing it now. And they have a winning record. It's the start of the season, and some fans are already turning on Topex. So that's one of my notable notes. I don't know if you guys agree.
Ganun ba kalaki yung value or importance ni Kian Baclan? Because he hasn't played well. He's been injured. He didn't play for FEU. Is he that important to LaSalle?
Yes. Yes, I would say. Diba? We talked about this during the preseason. Si Kian Cortez and Kian Baclan and Jacob Cortez. Na-combine ko na yung dalawa. Yeah, both of these guys will dictate, I think, where they will end up. If they can have that good balance of scoring and facilitating, I think they are more dangerous that way. Di ba si Gab mentioned kanina, certain players stepping up during this game. And if they had Kian Baclaan and Jacob Cortez, they'd be playing at the same way that they played during the end of the offseason, scoring and facilitating. They'd definitely be more dangerous and unpredictable. Harder to stop. Mike Phillips getting some easy baskets for sure. They're at their most vulnerable when they have to rely on Mike Phillips to create, to score a ton of points. I think that's something that we've seen. Most of their close games are games where you see Mike Phillips needing to exert extra effort to get buckets. So yeah, I would say si Kian Baclaan is maybe not as important as Jacob Cortez, but very important to how LaSalle could potentially become the top team again this season.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize that. I was surprised kasi I was skeptical about having both Jacob Cortez and Baclaan in the lineup with how deep LaSalle is also. Pero I'm surprised. I'm really surprised at how vulnerable LaSalle looks like. Starting to look like that. Ganun ka-importante si Kian Baclaan sa LaSalle. With that said, I'm sure everybody will show up versus Ateneo. I think we'll do a LaSalle Ateneo preview. I guarantee you everybody will show up against Ateneo.
Definitely. So Sammy, your notable notes from yesterday's games. You could go with the LaSalle FEU one or the UST-NU game.
I'm doubling down on my ballers of the week last Sunday. I wanna talk about NU. Siguro sa akin, they're one of the biggest surprises then for me this season, being one of the 3-0 teams, one of 2 3-0 teams with Ateneo. I honestly did not expect them to win yesterday's game. Watching the game yesterday, akala ko, okay, itong UST will pick it up. Akowe hasn't even scored a ton yet. I think there was another game before na Akowe scored lang, parang bumawi lang si Akowe nung fourth quarter, like third quarter. I forget which game.
Against LaSalle.
LaSalle, right. So I was expecting the same performance for Collins Akowe. That never happened. Now we know why. He had to go up against the best FSA of season 88. My boy, Omar John. I think the best thing that happened to Omar John was getting cut from last season. And I think sina Coach Jeff Napa, sina Jake Figueroa also talked about this. If you listen to the post-game interview, sabi ni Coach Jeff Napa, Omar John has been huge. Kasi grabe daw yung level of maturity niya versus the last time he played for NU. Keyword na sinabi niya, I think was, sorry, I forget. It's not steady. It's, basta parang mas kalmado siya. That was what he sort of said. And I 100% agree with that. We don't see Omar John forcing the issue on the offensive end. I think si Jake Figueroa even threw shade at him. I just forget what he said, but basically something to that effect na parang he has different dimensions to his game now na parang hindi na puro pilit poste, something like that. And then si Coach Jeff Napa pointed at Omar John, sabi niya, uy, gumanon siya kay Omar John, and Omar John laughed it off. Because doon tayo na-frustrate eh. If you remember, Gabma, we were hard on Omar John the last season 86, season 85. Because defensively, magaling naman siya eh. He was a shot blocker. He was very agile. Pero dun sa offensive end, medyo may moments na pilit siya, gigil siya, he fouls a lot. He's a lot calmer now. He's a lot more steady now. And I think huge impact for NU. Obviously, they did not have an FSA last season. So, the fact na merong, almost 7-footer sila na pwede ilaro for up to 30 minutes, that's a huge difference already. Pero, yung improvement niya from his last season, which was like season 86, to this season, I'm surprised. I'm surprised. He could be a most improved player of the season for me, Omar John. And obviously, you have Jake Figueroa, who's playing at an MVP level. And he's been consistent. I think he could be potentially an MVP candidate if he keeps playing like this, especially with Mike Phillips not playing as well the past few games. What's scary about NU is hindi pa nga yung the whole team hasn't performed well. Hindi pa yung buong team, 'di ba, yung nagpapakita. Particularly, I think the guards haven't played really well. The three-headed guard, Gab, akala natin sobrang dami nilang guards, but baka nga not enough pa kasi they haven't really played consistently. Other than, well, nung against UST, I think si Tebol scored 9 points. But in general, if you look at the last 3 games of NU, the guards haven't really scored a lot. Alam mo yung isang key takeaway ko pa sa NU game na yon, the best guard for me so far, it's not Steve Nash, it's not Tebol, it's not Humamoy. For me, it's Jello Santiago.
He was big. He was big in this game.
He hit clutch shots against UST nung last few
2 layups.
minutes. 2 layups.
Tsaka yung energy niya on the court.
Yung energy and yung defensive ability niya on the other end. Because the other 3 guards, they're kinda small. Medyo liability sila. With Jello Santiago, you don't give that up, diba? So, for me, he's been the best guard so far. So, I think those 2 guys stood out. Si Omar John, Jello Santiago. PJ Palacielo, another game in foul trouble. Fortunately, hindi siya kinailangan. It's also sort of crazy to see like PJ Palacielo's stats na he's averaging 8 points but he's only playing like 12 minutes a game, averaging 12 minutes a game. So, I think the first game tambakan, so he didn't play a lot, but the last 2 games foul trouble siya, which has always been his problem. But super efficient still, diba? To score a lot in just like 12 minutes. So, for me, Jello Santiago, Omar John stood out for me.
Yung magre-react lang ako, Sam. I love that you shouted out Omar John. I'm not willing to say he's the best FSA, but for Defensive Player of the Year, count me in. I thought that was his best defensive game. He's now shut down 3 FSAs.
Collins Akowe stopper and Mo Konate stopper.
He had 3 blocks. I think all of them were on Collins Akowe. And he was so active guarding Collins Akowe. Yung segue lang ako ng saglit. Yung isang notable note ko from this game, there is definitely beef between Collins Akowe and the NU Bulldogs.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know if you noticed all the antics that ako from my TV, I could see the antics that were happening. Collins Akowe was laughing at Omar John, was bumping Jake Figueroa. Jake Figueroa on an end one, staring down Collins Akowe. I don't know if you saw that. He drove to the basket. Siniko niya out of the way si Collins Akowe. Side note, that's how strong Jake Figueroa is. Collins Akowe moved out of the way. So he got an end one over Collins Akowe, stared him in the face, and Collins Akowe just walked away, not with a little shoulder hit there. Tapos I think in the 4th quarter when Collins Akowe turned the ball over and he was disappointed in himself, you could see from the bench, Reinhard Humamoy laughing at him, jeering at him, the entire bench. Oh, there is definitely beef between Collins Akowe and the NU Bulldogs. I want to see another UST-NU game just to see how NU tries to ridicule or tries to deal with Collins Akowe. Grabe, natutuwa lang ako na may ganitong issue pala sa NU and Collins Akowe. But back to Omar John, spectacular game. 10 points, I think 12 rebounds, 2 steals and 3 blocks. Those 3 blocks, I think all were on, as I said, all on Collins Akowe. He was amazing defensively. And offensively, as you said, Sammy, just taking his time, letting the offense come to him, not forcing his own shots, but letting the team get him into his spots. So far, I think the preseason of Omar Jan, as you said no last episode, Sammy, I think it's for real. We're seeing the evolution of Omar Jan, and count me in for Defensive Player of the Year because NU looks really good with Omar Jan as the backbone of their defense.
Naalala ko na yung sinabi ni Coach Jeff Napa, mas nag-settle down daw si Omar Jan. So parang mas steady na, which I thought was perfect.
Actually, one of my notes during this game was basically Omar Jan surprising me and giving Collins Akowe his welcome to the UAP moment. I think that it's ironic,
That's
diba? Kasi
true.
Akowe used to play for NU, and you mentioned Gab. Right from the start, I think in first 3 minutes, Akowe was already starting to jaw at Omar Jan. And lo and behold, during the end of the game, it was Omar Jan laughing, not Collins Akowe. A bit ironic because his welcome to the UAP came against a team that he could have maybe played as a reserve for next season, diba? Now it makes a lot of sense. Sort of makes sense to a certain degree why NU decided to pick Omar Jan over Akowe during the off-season. We know that si Mo Diazana was probably not healthy, not ready for this season, but the chemistry with Omar Jan, something that they had in previous seasons, something that they had when they almost ended up as a number 2 seed. Maybe if they did not have a bad end to the elimination round 2 seasons ago. And you see how important an FHA is. Diba? Remember, we've said this during the previous season. NU was the only team that beat LaSalle and UP when they were demigods in the UAAP. Diba? When teams couldn't hang with them. And it's looking like they could be a dark horse top 2 team during this season. Starting the season, I think this is the first time that they started at 3-0, having probably one of the best defenses, and Jake Figueroa. Diba? What a game. Actually, what was enjoyable to me during the fourth quarter was yung back and forth ni Figueroa and Cabanero. Scoring
Two best wings in the UAAP. Two best wings.
Ang ganda nun nung fourth quarter.
Diba? Ang ganda nung fourth quarter. They were scoring. They were putting the team on their back and not just disrupting yung offense, but scoring during the flow of the offense. I don't know si Figueroa had a step back 3-point shot in his repertoire. Clearly has worked a ton on not just his set 3-point shots kasi that's where he started developing it. When we saw it 2 off seasons ago, his catch and shoot 3-pointers. Now he can score off a 3-pointer off a dribble. Diba? Those 2 clutch baskets during the end propelled NU to win this game. And you could see his emotions, how he really wants to win this season. And ang ganda kasi during the first few games, we saw a different dimension also of Figueroa. Figueroa being more of a playmaker, not needing to score baskets. But when they needed baskets, Figueroa took over and grabe, ganda nung moves niya during the end of the game. And I would say that NU is really surprising a lot of people so far. It's maybe we could put up. It's crazy yung start ng season so far. I never thought that Ateneo and NU could start 3-0.
Si Jake Figueroa ready na mag-abroad. Showing his 3-point shot. I think he hit a 3 in every game. 1 3-point shot in every game in his past 3 games. Showing that he is ready. Visa na lang kailangan.
Well, that was my other notable note from this game, and I think I posted about this. Jake Figueroa for MVP? Are we on this train now? I'm excited to do, ibabalik ba natin yung top 5 MVP candidates of Boleros? We didn't do it last season. We did it in season 86. I think I want to do it again because ang daming candidates.
Surprisingly.
Diba?
No one is running away with it
Exactly.
so far.
But Sammy, look at Jake Figueroa's stat lines for the first 3 games. Look at the stat line from this game. 22, 9, and 2 assists with a block. And in the previous game, I think had 5 steals, or was that in the first game? Something. He's all over the place. And as you said, clutch. Diba? The long 2 to give NU the lead. Then the step back 3 over Collins ako to seal the game and to seal the win for NU. I'm buying into Jake Figueroa. I did not see this. I mean, we all knew that he was the main guy ever since Kian Baclaan left, and his strength was going to the basket. But now it seems like his game has really rounded out, no? And grabe, this guy was a big man in high school. I think was playing power forward or center in high school.
Power forward center, yeah.
And it's amazing how he has transitioned this game as a wing in the UAAP. It may have taken him longer than KQ. You know, si KQ basically did it in one off season, biglang naging wing player na siya. Jake Figueroa has taken 5 seasons, but I'm glad he's taken that leap.
Wait, Gab, are you saying that because Jake Figueroa is playing with FSAs, he's actually converting into wing? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I'm definitely saying that. Shout out to our a certain Lasallian and PBA broadcaster who wants to ban FSAs forever. But yes, tama ka sa amin. Actually, if this were the old UAAP where centers were like 6'5", 6'6", you know, Jake Figueroa might actually just be playing as a power forward. Diba? But because he's playing with taller players and the 6'6", the 6'7" players are now playing as power forwards, we're getting a Jake Figueroa right now who's playing like a wing and looks like he's ready to take the leap into the international stage because he looks really good.
Sino next? What's next?
Talagang shout out niyo yung FSAs,
we just had to because the article that came out yesterday, I think, boiled our blood. So we just had to shout him out. Okay, any more notable notes, guys? Wala na? Okay, let's move on to our next topic, which is the Ateneo Lasal preview for this weekend. So, my question is to the two of you, what are you most looking forward to for the Ateneo Lasal game on Sunday? Let's go to you, Maui.
Ako ang novena ko na. I'll say novena. Prayer ko for the game this Sunday is we get a gut-wrenching game. Somebody na
I agree.
Maraming heart attack moments. Hopefully nobody gets a heart attack, but you get my drift. We get a game that's close. We get a game where fans from both teams can celebrate. Kasi we've had so many lopsided Ateneo Lasal games throughout the past few years. A lot more, especially nung dominant Ateneo and maybe last season. Some very one-sided games. I think this is one of the few times, I think, in a few years that both teams are pretty competitive. Maybe you could argue that nung season 86 or 85, kahit pa paano may certain level of same yung level of strength. But Ateneo is pretty hot coming into this game, and I think this is their first test to see if they are a legitimate contender for this season. I think that will dictate yung opinions ng people. So definitely they will come out and show out this Sunday. I hope all of the players from LaSalle are healthy. Kasi they have three players that they play in their rotation, or two out of the three players they play in rotation that are injured. So yeah, hopefully we have players playing at full strength. Maybe we don't get it, but hopefully that's the case. We want a crazy game. Crazy Sunday game. Para sulit naman, di ba, when we go to Mall of Asia, as Gab mentioned. We don't want to spend the whole day in MOA and get a blowout. I think that's my first request, hopefully, for this Sunday.
Maganda yan. Sammy, what are you most looking forward to this Sunday?
Actually, same. Top of mind for me. I'm hoping for a competitive game kasi last season, even nung pre-seasons, last season wasn't good for us. Like, di ba Pinoy Liga, we lost by like 30 plus points or something. This pre-season, we saw Big Mike's get like almost 40 points or 40 points, 20 plus rebounds or something. He dominated us, but it was close. It was a competitive game.
We want that type of game.
So, I'm hoping it's a preview of what's to come this weekend. Sana it's a competitive game. That the last time they played nung preseason, you have to remember, Ateneo did not have guys like Lasso or Dom Escobar. So it was a different looking Ateneo team also. So I am interested to see this new look 3-0 Ateneo team go up against LaSalle. It's also, syempre, interesting that Ateneo will be staking their undefeated standing against their rivals in LaSalle. As an Ateneo fan, syempre, I'm wishing for a win for Ateneo, especially because if you look at Ateneo's schedule, they're going to play like 3 games in 8 days. Something like
3
that.
3 games in, I think, 6 days, Sammy. Sunday
6 days.
Sunday to Saturday. Sunday, LaSalle. Wednesday, UP. Saturday, UST. That's their...
7 games. 3 games in
like Hell
7
Week.
days. Hell Week. Parang finals week eh, no? Parang estudyante lang. So, I think if you need to win that first game habang fresh ka pa. Because Ateneo's, the last time they played nung Sunday, diba? So, medyo rested na yung Ateneo eh. So, that game against LaSalle, I think, they need to win that. Kasi it's going to be tough pag medyo pagod-pagod ka na sa dulo na ng Hell Week. So, I think that's what I'm looking forward to for Ateneo. For LaSalle, na-mention ni Maui, I hope everyone's healthy. I'm hoping kahit na I'm for Ateneo, I'm hoping Kian Baclahan comes back kasi Ateneo still owes Kian Baclahan. Because when Kian Baclahan was in Moro, he was like
doing this,
kissing the fans, waving to them. Ateneo wants Kian Baclahan to play for LaSalle because they still owe him from that last game. I do expect a Jacob Cortez breakout game because everybody gets their season high, career high against Ateneo. Just go ask John Ray Pasaol.
Jorik.
Just go ask sino yung Welo Lingo-Lingo, Matt Erolon, they all scored their season highs against Ateneo.
Yung before you came on here, clutch lang si Jorik at pang Ateneo kalaban niya.
Oh, tapos sa LaSalle, can't even
missing wide
hit
open
a layup. A wide open layup? Come on, Jorik. Come on.
Well, what I'm looking forward to this Sunday, and I can't believe none of you both of you did not mention this.
Alam ko yan, Mason Amos.
The Mason Amos beef. Let's go. I'm looking for the Ateneo crowd to rain down the booze. I'm looking for the LaSalle crowd to chant Mason Amos. They did that last season. I'm looking for the Mason Amos Ateneo jerseys that the LaSalle bought. Diba? Binili nila sa Get Blued. Yung mga jersey.
Pwede ka rin magpa-custom sa Get Blued ng jersey.
Oh, I'm sure the LaSallians are gonna jeer about Mason Amos. I'm sure the Ateneans are gonna boo about Mason Amos. And I want to see how Mason reacts. Will he be I don't know.
Is he going to high five the Ateneo team? Or is
I'm
Ateneo
sure
going
not.
to high-five with Mason?
I'm sure not. Ayun din. Is he gonna shake the hand of Coach Tab after in the end game, whether he wins or he loses? Is there something like that? Yung are magkaka some face-off ba during the game between Mason and his former teammates? He left suddenly. This is the type of storyline we need for Ateneo Lasal. This is exactly what the rivalry is for. Moments like this to watch if there's Mason, the apparent King Eagle coming to season 87, going to Lasal. Diba? This is what we live for, guys. This is what
Mason
we live
versus Kimani Ladi. That matchup would be also interesting. Kimani Ladi replacing
Huwag mong
Mason.
unahan yung next question ko, Sammy, because that's my next question.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What's the matchup you're most looking forward to this coming Sunday? Sige, yung dahil sinabi mo na, Sammy, let's go to you.
Yeah. So, hindi ko sinabi yung looking forward to kasi ito lang, this is where I wanted to mention the Mason thing. So, I do want to see Mason versus Kimani Ladi. They're going to get matched up. Kai is obviously the guy who replaced Mason in the rotation. The tall, stretch big that can shoot threes. I think Kai is a better defender, slightly better defender than Mason. To be fair to Mason, I think he played well during his last game. He's gotten better on defense. And alam kong walang history si Kimani Ladi kay with Mason Amos. They never played together. I don't know if they even talked to each other when Kai was recruited. But I'm pretty sure every single one of his teammates, Kai's classmates, are just telling him, you have to give Mason the business. You have to score over Mason. You can't let Mason score. I'm sure he has been briefed about the history of Ateneo with Mason Amos. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And si Kimani Ladi kasi is sort of like a quiet guy, diba? But you can see he's got that Kobe mentality then sometimes, or like malaki parang silent assassin ganon. So I want to see that.
Kaya nga siya kinall out ni Coach Tab na konti lang yung assist niya eh kasi Kobe mentality.
Hindi na mamasa. I don't mind.
As long as he's making it, I don't mind. Maui, what matchup are you most looking forward to?
Yeah, actually, maganda kasi I think the last time that the rivalry was reignited also happened to be when a certain Ateneo King Eaglet transferred to Lasal. Diba? I think that's really what reignited Ateneo. The Ateneo-Lasal rivalry during the early 2000s.
Si Joaquin Manuel ba?
No. He's too not much of a big ticket. But yeah, I think the last time we had this much of a talk or this much fuss about a player leaving Ateneo transfer to Lasal was when BJ Manalo decided to transfer to Lasal, and that reignited, diba, the rivalry during the early 2000s, something we grew up with, us three. Maybe that could be a spark to the fire. Maybe the rivalry will be similar to how it was before. So yeah, I'm excited with Sunday, but the matchup that I'm looking at is maybe si Divine Adili versus Mike Phillips. Remember, the last time, as Sammy mentioned, Ateneo faced Lasal no Asia Basket, Mike Phillips almost had a 40-20 game, and Divine Adili only played 9 minutes. I think fouled out in 9 minutes.
Fouled out? Yeah.
In 9 minutes. So I think Divine Adili will have to do a better job. I don't think Ateneo has another capable big from stopping si Mike Phillips. We've seen throughout the season that Ateneo can win games despite getting out-rebounded. And I think I would have to say that versus LaSalle, who has one of the best rebounders in the UAAP and has a very big front court, they will without a doubt still win the rebounding battle this Sunday. I think that's something Ateneo will have to live by, something Ateneo will just have to accept and try to limit yung rebounding advantage ng LaSalle. And I think Divine Adili having a good game before this game exactly is a very good sign for Ateneo. And I would be interested to see how he matches up with Mike Phillips. Hopefully he can play closer to 20 to 25 minutes during this game versus that abysmal fouling out in 9 minutes. So I'm excited for that matchup.
Wow, we all have different picks. So good question from me. I'm looking forward to Jacob Cortez versus Jared Bahay. The battle of the point guards. And if Kian Baclan is playing, you can count him in. The backcourt of Ateneo looks solid so far. Jaden Lasso looks like a really good, smart player. And Espinosa just came off his best game of the season. I think he's gonna play. I mean, there's been no announcement of a suspension, so it would be crazy that they suspend him 2 days or a day before the game. So much for prep time, diba, of having a suspended player. But yeah, just wanted to clarify that the league, the commissioner's office reviews suspensions now, so it's not an automatic suspension. Baka may nagtatanong pa rin dyan. So, okay? So, for now, we think Ian Espinosa is playing. But the matchup at point guard, I think, is pretty exciting. How will the Ateneo guards try to guard Jacob and Kian? Because in the last 2 games that they played in Asia Basket, remember, Kian Baclan was amazing in crunch time, diba? He basically won the game for LaSalle in their matchup in March. In their matchup in the finals of Asia Basket, same thing. Jacob Cortez was freaking amazing. Same with Kian. So how will Ateneo and Coach Tab and the guards plan around trying to limit the effect of those two very dynamic guards? And on the other side, can Jared Bahay continue his good form? He's been playing really well. He's not been scoring a lot. I mean, his season high so far was in the first game with 13 points. Doesn't really score a lot, but he does distribute the basketball pretty well. So how is he going to fare? Is he still not gonna get a lot of turnovers? Is he still gonna run the offense pretty well? Is he gonna score more? That's what I'm looking for Jared Bahay. Can he actually pick up his scoring? Remember last season, I think the last time they met in the UAAP, Jared Bahay scored 22 points or something like that. You had this career high against the LaSalle Green Archers in a blowout.
The second round, I think, yeah.
Yeah, in a blowout, and Jared Bahay himself was disappointed because sabi niya, 'di ba, yung mga baskets niya did not come within the system. So, let's see how Jared Bahay responds. He's a better defender now. He's more patient. Can he actually shoot the ball well? I don't think he shot the ball well in the first 3 games. But he's definitely going to distribute the basketball. So, the backcourt matchup, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Siguro, since we're going out into 50 minutes, predictions tayo. Sammy, you go first. What's your prediction for this Sunday? Ateneo or LaSalle?
Ayoko ma-curse yung Ateneo. Just give me LaSalle. LaSalle in a close game is a win for me.
Wow, you non-believer. Maui.
Ayoko kasi sisisihin mo na naman ako kung i-curse ko si Ateneo. Ayoko na.
Wala na curse. I'll say Ateneo wins this Sunday. Let's see. I think this game is maybe not as talked about as much, but I think it's very crucial to Ateneo. I think this is probably their most crucial game this season. If they go 4-0, I think yung confidence nila will go sky high against a team like Lasal going to the game against UP. I think this game is more important than what people say. And Coach Sam has been realistic, saying that they don't expect to go 7-0 sa first round. I think this schedule is so brutal that if Ateneo wins 2 out of the 4 games, I could consider it a success, and I think they will win this game. They have to win this game to start off this crazy 4-game stretch where they fight against the top contenders. And I think this will be a statement game for Kimani Ladi.
Yeah, I guess to your point, Maui, no? Siguro, who plays more desperate? Kasi you can also look at Ateneo as a team that could chill kasi 3-0 sila, but they also need to, this is a big win for them to start off yung hell week nila. On the other end, you could look at Lasal and say Lasal's more desperate because they haven't really played well so far despite being 2-1. They could have easily been 0-3. So they also have to play desperately against Ateneo. So who is more desperate for the win, I guess, for me? Gab.
I'm with Maui on this one. I'm picking the Ateneo Blue Eagles. I believe. I think that was our tagline or our mantra during
the 2000s.
The 2001s, the 2001 finals. Kasi nung 2002 naging I still believe.
Tama.
Yun ang mga taglines eh. So yeah, count me in. I believe. I think it's Ateneo in overtime. I think we're gonna have a banger of a game. I think we're gonna go into overtime, and for the first time in years, people have been asking me for tickets. I think that's a good sign. A lot of people are gonna watch. I think we're gonna be filled at least until sa upper box level, yung mapupuno yung MOA. So I'm excited. I think the crowds are gonna be lit. I think the crowds are gonna be crazy. I think that the jeering and the joying are gonna be top notch, especially with the Mason Amos factor here. But put me down for an Ateneo win. I believe. And with that, thank you all so much for watching our midweek episode of Boleros. Any final words, Maui and Sam?
If you're still listening and you want to sponsor the show, feel free to message us via Instagram or our email. We'll put them down in the description box below. Just remember, if you're going to sponsor, we only accept no-show deals. Okay? No-show deals. Yung mga tipong sa sponsor ka ng 28 million, di kami magpapakita. That's the perfect sponsorship for us. With that, we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.